Hello everyone, class is in session. My name is Jack from Cultaholic.com. Now, apologies that Graded is coming out a little bit late today. I'll just break down what happened. I'll just break it down for you all. So basically, Adam Pacitti has been claimed by illness. He's stuck in bed. He messaged us saying, guys, Graded's going to be late. I'm going to try and come in, but then he realised he's too ill. So let's all send our well wishes towards Pacitti at this difficult time while he's stuck in bed with a bit of an illness. I'm delighted that he hasn't come in because I don't want to catch his dangerous germs. I don't want to be coughing and spluttering all the time. I just want to be living my life, chilling out, doing all that good stuff. So get well soon, Adam, but don't worry, because I've got your back. This is SmackDown Live Graded. So we kick off the show with the opening segment, which is delightfully a portion of Miz TV. The Miz came out and announced a #1 contenders match at Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia, between himself and Daniel Bryan, and the winner will of course go on to face the winner of AJ Styles and Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. Really punchy start, just get those details out of the way and let's all crack on with our lives. Lovely stuff. Miz then announced his guest for Miz TV, which turned out to be his own wife, Maurice. Maurice came to the ring and Miz went, what was it like wrestling Brie Bella at Hell in a Cell? And Maurice went, you know what, her heart wasn't in it. And the heelishness didn't stop there. She also went, we all know that Brie only married Daniel Bryan to stay relevant in the WWE. And Miz went, that's right, it is a marriage of convenience, yes. Maurice then said that it was her last night on SmackDown Live. It looks like she's going to be taking a break from the WWE, I guess to look after Monroe Sky and all that sort of stuff. Mothering, motherness, motherhood, important. Yep, fair enough. I've just started saying words. Miz then got angry because the crowd were booing his wife and then called out Daniel Bryan. And you know what Daniel Bryan's like? Always up for a fight. He came out and tackled The Miz for talking about his wife, and they had a little bit of a brawl, and this is where things got a little bit strange. Daniel Bryan got the better of the fight and drop-kicked Miz into his wife, into Maurice, who then clutched her abdomen and was selling. They brought a stretcher out for her. Miz was next to her going like, oh my God, are you okay? What's going on? And then it was all a heelish ruse. Daniel Bryan, like any good babyface, was going, no, what have I done? I've hurt an innocent woman. And even though Maurice isn't an innocent woman, she's a dirty heel, just like The Miz. But, you know, he was feeling remorse because she wasn't involved in the fight and she got hurt. And he was going, oh no, I hope she's all right. And then she turned out to be totally fine. And Miz snuck up behind for the skull-crushing finale. And I thought, great, this segment's going really well. I understand the point of everything that's going on. Great that Maurice played possum. And then it got weird. Then Daniel Bryan, again, once he realised that it was a ruse, fought off The Miz and then again kicked him into his wife, and Maurice spilled off the apron, and that was it. He cleared the ring of The Miz and stood tall, and Daniel Bryan was the winner, but didn't feel bad this time for actually hurting Maurice. So I found it a little bit confusing. I'm going to give this opening segment a B because, you know what, I thought it was great. You know, Miz is one of the top heels in the business. Daniel Bryan's one of the top baby faces. They're both good on the mic, especially The Miz. So it was all going really well. Maurice did really well too. She's good on the mic. But that stuff at the end with the fake injury and then the real injury was a little bit off to me, because why was Daniel Bryan initially concerned, which I understand, but then when he actually hurt Maurice, he didn't give a crap, didn't care, couldn't have cared less. Not a care in the world, just stood there going, yes, I'm the best, I'm going to win in Australia. And I was like, you've actually hurt Maurice there, bless her. Look at her little face. Next up, we had a match between Cesaro and Kofi Kingston to build up to the tag title match between the New Day and The Bar in Australia. But beforehand, we had a little bit of a promo with the New Day dressed in like Australian outback clothes, doing a kind of a crocodile hunter kind of thing. It was okay. There was some bad Australian accent. It was alright. Luckily, the match was a lot better. It's one of those matches, Kofi Kingston versus Cesaro, where you want this to get 20 minutes or something, but I get that SmackDown's only 2 hours long, and they've got a lot to fit into that 2 hour slot, so I understood why it didn't go much longer. It lasted about 7 or 8 minutes, and Cesaro picked up the win with the neutralizer. A pretty clean win as well, which I guess was a good decision because the Bar were kind of granted this title shot without much of a background at all. They lost the tag title #1 contendership tournament to Rusev Day, and then were given a title shot at a later date. Didn't really make much sense, but thankfully now, at least they have some sort of claim on those titles. I'm going to give this segment a B as well. I thought the match was alright. It wasn't the sharpest we've necessarily ever seen Kofi Kingston or indeed Cesaro. Little bit sloppy at times, not sloppy, just a little bit slower than usual from both men, but they're both still fantastic pro wrestlers, and I did enjoy the match, and I enjoyed the fact that one member of the Bar has gotten a win over one member of the New Day, and it should add a little bit of fuel to that feud leading up to the match in Australia. Next up, we went backstage to the production truck where Randy Orton was getting right sexually aroused. He was, the dirty viper. That's right, Randy Orton was kind of massaging the shoulders of one of the production guys going, "Don't make me angry, otherwise I'll beat you up, I will." And he got him to replay his own torture and punishment of Jeff Hardy over the past few weeks on multiple screens, just getting off to his own sadism was Randy Orton, just like, "Yeah, show me that screwdriver in the ear." Oh, rubbing his thighs and stuff. It was weird. Yeah, it was weird, but it was effective. You know, it kind of worked. I'm actually going to give this a B+. Often, Randy Orton has been guilty in the past of coming across a little bit stale, especially when he's a babyface. This is heel Randy Orton, where he's immeasurably better than when he's a good guy. And he's not just heel Randy Orton, he's like sexual violence pervert Randy Orton. And it's kind of suiting him quite well. So B+ for this. I thought it was a good segment, and I'm interested to see who he feuds with next, because he promised that his next victim would be in for much the same treatment that Jeff Hardy was too. Who could it be? I genuinely don't know, but I'm excited to find out who it is. Next up, a US title match between the champion Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. Now, this was all built up backstage where Aiden English just sort of snapped when he thought that Lana and Rusev had walked off screen. He was going, "Oh, Lana's really frustrating. She's really coming between us in this team, and I'm responsible for Rusev Day, and it's all because of me." And then Lana overheard him and went, "I'm going to tell Rusev." And then it panned across and Rusev was there as well. But then he went, "Whatever you've got to say, Lana, just wait a second because I'm focused on this title match." Bit of a curious build-up there, but it would all make sense after the match. It was a decent match with Aiden English on the outside with a microphone, really hyping up the crowd like, "Rusev Day, Rusev Day," as Rusev was like struggling to get into it against the champion Nakamura. Nakamura eventually won with a roll-up because English accidentally cost Rusev. He's kind of distracted him on the apron with his microphone, trying to essentially cut a promo in the middle of the match. Rusev was rolled up, 1, 2, 3. Nakamura is still the champion, and then after the match, Aiden English snapped and attacked Rusev and beat him down with the microphone. Rusev Day is over, and well, I don't know what to make of it, really. I'm going to give this a C+. That sounds harsh. The match itself was probably a B or even a B+. It was a pretty decent match, but I don't like the turn. I agree that Aiden English should be the one to turn heel, because if he was cast out on his own as a babyface, I don't really know what he would do. Whereas the crowd love to get behind Rusev, it's a good decision to keep him babyface. I just don't agree with the whole build-up of this storyline as a whole. Let me explain. So I think that in the build-up to this, I've always felt more sympathetic towards Aiden English because he seems to really care about the team. And I think if we remember like a month or two ago, it was Lana who was trying to sort of sow the seeds of discontent. She would hint to Rusev that we don't need Aiden English, we can do this on our own. And I was thinking, oh, Rusev's going to be the one to turn heel, which I didn't agree with, but at least it made sense. This doesn't really make sense to me. Like suddenly Aiden English is really wanting Rusev to win the match. The minute he doesn't win the match, English snaps and turns on him. I found it really confusing, and I feel really conflicted about it, because I'm happy that English is heel, but I'm annoyed the way it went down. Not just in this segment, but the whole build-up generally. Anyway, moving on, there was a nice little palate cleanser, because instead of worrying about the ramifications of the heel turn and everything, we just got a bloody excellent wrestling match, a non-title match between the WWE champion AJ Styles and Andrade Cien Almas. Just go and watch this match, essentially. It was really, really good. AJ Styles picked up the victory, as he probably should have done, but I just thought it was a fantastic, wonderful wrestling match. AJ's obviously one of the best in the world, and so is Andrade Cien Almas, and I'm so glad that he's getting a chance to really show what he can do on the main roster. I was fearful, like a lot of people were, whenever our favourites from NXT get called up, we're always like, oh, how is it going to go for them? Are they going to do well, or are they going to do badly? How are they going to be booked? And it looks as though, at least so far, Andrade Cien Almas is getting a chance to really show what he can do. I'm going to give this an A-. Loved the match, I thought it was fantastic, and I loved the post-match beatdown as well, because Samoa Joe ran out of nowhere, beat up AJ Styles, targeted the eyes. Oh, how mean is that? And then ran off through the crowd like a big bloody heel coward. It was really good stuff. Simple storytelling, you know, a great match between Styles and Almas, and then a great post-match attack as well. No major complaints. I thought it was probably the high point of SmackDown Live this week. Next up, about a minute-long match between Asuka and one of the Iconics, Billie Kay, with Peyton Royce at ringside on behalf of Billie Kay, and Naomi at ringside on behalf of Asuka. Because they're friends now? I don't really understand. I get that they've got a match together in Australia coming up soon, but I don't know why. I don't know why they've been paired together. Asuka doesn't need someone to be paired with. She should be put across as a massive destroyer on her own. And the same for Naomi. She doesn't need someone as well. She's one of the best women's wrestlers, one of the most underrated on the main roster, I think. And she, I think, is also being diluted by being in a tag team as well. So Don't really understand what's going on. I'm going to give this match a C+. It's always hard to grade a match that's essentially a squash, and Asuka did win in about a minute with the Asuka lock, which was the right call. I just wasn't too gripped by all the developments. And also the Iconics pre-match promo, while deliberately annoying, dragged on a little bit too long for my liking as well. But it wasn't like the worst thing on the show by any means. I just don't like the fact that Asuka, like Bayley and Sasha Banks on the Raw side of things, is really finding her way to the bottom of the SmackDown Women's division when really she should be right at the top, challenging for the title, getting in intense feuds with the likes of Becky and Charlotte and those sort of characters. And I worry that she's being a little bit wasted right now. And finally, the main event, or the final segment of the show. It wasn't exactly a match, but it was the main portion of the end of the show, which was Becky Lynch's championship coronation ceremony. Paige brought out Becky Lynch to crown her the official SmackDown Women's Champion, and this was great. Becky was on fire. She was saying, "Where's Charlotte now? Does she not want the spotlight now?" Then she was saying, "You know what? I've been working and building up to this for 2 years now, and I finally have the title back in my possession." The crowd are all going, "Yeah, Becky, Becky." She goes, "No, I want Charlotte here to witness this. Charlotte, get out here now. Where are you?" Charlotte came out and sort of smugly went, "You know what? I am here right now, Becky. I'm here to give you the respect that you couldn't give to me at SummerSlam or at Hell in a Cell." And Becky was kind of like, "Oh, really? That's interesting. I want you to put this title around my waist and I want you to call me the Queen." Charlotte obviously wasn't going to do that. She's too proud, of course. And she turned away to leave, and then Becky went, "You're a bitch." Just throwing bitch out there just to see what reaction it gets, I guess. The reaction it got was that Charlotte was obviously furious, attacked Becky Lynch, but Becky got the better of the exchange. And that's essentially how we went off the air for SmackDown Live, with Becky Lynch putting the disarmer on Charlotte, hitting her with a big suplex, and then striding out of the arena with the championship over her shoulder. This was great. Both women did a great job on the mic and everything, with their posture and their emotions, their facial expressions and everything. And I'm going to give this a C. Why a C? Why that lower grade? Let me explain. It gets a C despite being a great segment because it's all backwards. Becky Lynch should be the face, Charlotte Flair should be the heel, and they're hammering it home that Becky Lynch is who we're supposed to boo. And I don't understand how WWE can't just recognize, why are they too proud to just go, "You know what, guys, the fans are right in this instance, let's do a double turn," which they should have done in the aftermath of the Hell in a Cell match, really, and make Becky Lynch this ultra badass babyface, and make Charlotte Flair, the keyword being Flair, she's a Flair, make her the cheating, devious, entitled heel. Why can't they do that? I feel like I'm repeating myself because I've said this quite a lot over the past few weeks, but it rings true. Why can't they do that? So that ended SmackDown on a very frustrating note. I'm going to give this episode of SmackDown overall a B grade. The wrestling was great all the way through, particularly AJ Styles versus Andrade, Cien, Almas, but it doesn't get an A grade or anything like that. It gets a B just because the big set pieces did not clash well with me. I didn't think that they really were executed as they should have been. Not the fault of the wrestlers, again, they were all great on the mic as well this week. It was just more the booking. I didn't agree with Aiden English's heel turn just because of the whole build-up of that angle. I felt sympathy for Aiden English, and I don't understand why he wanted Rusev to win, and then when Rusev lost, he attacked him, even though it was his fault. Even though Rusev cost him at Hell in a Cell by demanding the tag when English essentially had the match won. What's going on? Also, didn't enjoy at all the fact that Becky Lynch is still a heel and Charlotte's still a babyface, but we all knew that anyway. We all feel the same about that, guys, don't we? Yeah, we do. So that's it for this week on SmackDown Live Graded. Apologies again that this is coming out late, but Adam Paciotti's ill and there's nothing we didn't foresee it happening. So send him your well wishes. He'll be back and on his feet in no time. Don't worry about it. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. Thank you very much for watching this video. You can follow me if you want on Twitter at JackTheJobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. And if you want to as well, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never forget, of course, to hit subscribe and to join us.